Hello everybody, Game Guy here, and welcome to the first installment of Let's Learn League, a new series I have developed in order to teach and inform new players to the League of Legends community on how to play the game, as well as to refresh the minds of all those veterans out there. This will be an ongoing series covering many different topics. Seeing how League is a vast game within itself, and learning the ins and outs of the game can prove to be quite a daunting task at first. The endgame tutorial does an okay job of teaching the player what they need to know, including the intro bots, but there are some things better taught from human to human, and not a voice constantly reminding you to stay behind your minions. So, without further ado, let's get started. Before I start teaching you anything, first you should know the objective of League of Legends. This is something a lot of beginners, and even some veterans, seem to forget or lose sight of during the course of a match. The objective of the game is simple: destroy the enemy team's nexus. This is accomplished by destroying the 3 turrets protecting a lane, followed by destroying the inhibitor in said lane. After destroying the inhibitor in at least one lane, which means taking down 3 turrets in a lane as well, you can then attack and destroy the turrets protecting the nexus. Once those are gone, the enemy nexus is yours for the taking. Taking the enemy nexus is your #1 priority. Kills are nothing but a luxury and should never be prioritized over the objective, so remember this well. Now that you understand the objective of the game, let's take a look at the user interface, aka the game screen. Upon loading into the game, you are greeted with a big interface, quite intimidating to a new player at first. Do not fret though, I will guide you through it one step at a time. The first thing you should draw your attention to are your abilities at the very bottom of the screen. Every champion has 4 abilities, and these abilities are assigned to 4 keys on the keyboard that can be activated with the push of a key. These 4 keys are Q, W, E, and R. Every champion starts the game at level 1, and can only take 1 of their abilities. To learn an ability, simply click the plus icon hovering over one of the corresponding abilities. Each time you level up, you can learn or level up an ability. Doing this in the middle of combat is dangerous, however, as you could be killed. So a faster way to learn an ability is to press Control and the key corresponding to the ability you want to learn. So if you want to level up your Q, you can press Control and Q. At levels 6, 11, and 16, you are able to learn the ability that is matched to your R, which is your ultimate ability, typically the most powerful ability in a champion's arsenal. To activate an ability, you typically press the button for the ability you want to use, then left click, but this can differ between certain abilities. A faster way to cast an ability is to smart cast it, which can be done by holding Shift and activating an ability. You can also set an ability hotkey to be smart casted by opening your options by hitting Escape, and clicking the lightning bolt under the hotkey you want to have set to smart cast under the hotkeys section. You may also scroll down to the bottom of the menu in the hotkeys section and click a box that will set range indicators on while quick casting, allowing you to hold down the ability key to see the range for said ability. Oh, I almost forgot. Every champion also has a passive, an ability you cannot activate, but it always has a persistent effect. For example, Annie's passive makes every ability she casts after using 4 abilities stun. Some champions' abilities are also passives and cannot be activated. Some abilities even have a passive and active effect, so do your best to remember this depending on what champion you're using. Now let's look at the bottom left corner of the screen. This is your champion information. Here you will see a picture of your champion followed by 6 stats. From top to bottom, these stats are your attack damage, which is the amount of damage that you'll do with your basic attacks. Basic attacks are done by right-clicking on something. Your ability power, which determines how much damage your abilities do. However, not everyone's abilities use ability power. Attack speed, how fast you can basic attack. Your movement speed, how fast you move. Your armor, meaning a percentage of physical damage that is reduced towards you. And magic resistance, the percentage of magic damage that is reduced against you. At any time, you can scroll over these statistics to view more information about them. Next to that are 7 slots. These are your item slots. However, there are only 6 of these slots available for actual items. The last slot on the right is for trinkets. Trinkets I will explain at another time. Some items have actives that can be used by clicking on the item, but a faster way to use them is to press the hotkey number for them. The hotkeys are numbers 1 through 7, displayed next to each respective slot. Underneath your champion's picture is your experience bar. Here you can see what level you are, how much experience you have currently, and if you scroll over, exactly how much experience you have and how much you need before you can level up again. Remember, the maximum level is 18. Under your 6 item slots is how much gold you have. Gold is used to purchase items in the shop. To go to the shop, simply click on your gold or press the P key. You must be standing on your spawn pad at base in order to actually buy items. You can still view the store while out in the arena, you just can't buy anything. I'll explain how to purchase items in a bit. Now on the left side of your screen is the allied champion info. Here you can see the health and mana/resource bars for your allies, what champion they're using, and what level they are. You may also notice a small green dot next to their icon. If the dot is lit up, then that means they have their ultimate ready. In the top right corner of the screen, there are a few more things that you must note. First is the score between the two teams, which shows how many kills your team has versus how many kills the enemy team has. Next is your personal score, from left to right, is how many kills you have, how many times you have died, and how many assists you have. The last number by the purple diamond is how many minions you've killed, or gotten the last hit on. This is another huge topic that I will cover at another point in time. Next to all of this information is the game timer, telling you how long the match has gone on for. Finally, we have the most important part of the interface, the minimap, located in the bottom right corner of the screen. Now, if you cannot see your minimap, you must try and fix that as soon as possible because the minimap is your best friend on this entire interface. The minimap shows a map of the entire arena where you and your allies are, and if you have vision of them, your enemies. It also shows any turrets, inhibitors, or other objectives that are up. By right-clicking anywhere in the minimap, the game will calculate the shortest distance there and make your champion start walking there. By default, you may notice that your camera is locked onto your position, which is good for keeping track of yourself. If you press the Y key, or the button all the way on the right side of the minimap, you will unlock the camera, which will allow you to move around the map freely. You can do this by moving your mouse to the edge of the screen. You may also at any time left-click on the minimap to look at that location instantly. Get in the habit of looking at your minimap constantly, because it's very important to know where you are as well as your enemies. Another handy feature of the minimap is pinging. By holding Alt and left-clicking or pressing G then left-clicking, you can ping a blue dot anywhere on the map, calling attention to a certain point. You may also hold Alt or Control and scroll over one of four options: Danger, Enemies are missing, I'm on my way, or Be careful, each one doing what the name implies. Now that you understand what everything in the interface means and how you can interact with it, it's time to head out into the fields of justice. Not quite. There's still a couple more things that you need to know before you leave the warm, snuggly comfort of your spawn pad, most specifically buying items. Now, as I stated before, you can open the shop by pressing the P key or clicking on your gold. Here you can see all the items the store has to offer. The game offers some items recommended for your character, which are usually good to follow. By right-clicking on an item, you can purchase that item. However, you will usually be unable to buy an item entirely. This is something I've seen quite a few people struggle with. Instead of buying the entire item, we build the item. Let us take the Infinity Edge, for example, a very common item used amongst most attack damage-oriented ranged champions. The Infinity Edge itself costs 3,800 gold, which is a very large price, one of the 3 most expensive items in the game, to be honest. Buying this item itself requires a lot of gold, which you will usually not have right off the bat. So we buy items that build into it. By left-clicking on an item, we can see that there are 3 items that can be built into the Infinity Edge: a BF sword, a pickaxe, and a cloak of agility. You may then right-click on one of these smaller items to purchase it, lowering the cost of the Infinity Edge. By progressively buying smaller items, you can work your way towards that one big item while still getting stats that will help you. You can always left-click on an item to see if it builds into anything or if anything builds into it. Well, you now know how to work the interface, and you know how to buy items. That covers the basics of what you must know to prepare yourself for the fields of justice. However, knowledge is only half the battle. Next comes the actual battle itself. Now, I don't want to overload you with too much information, so this is just going to be the first episode of Let's Learn League, and we'll draw it to a close here. Hopefully this tutorial was informative and has helped you in your first step to learning League. Our next lesson will cover last-hitting minions and the different roles of League of Legends. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next tutorial.